What is up, guys? Delboy here, just bringing you my prediction video for Adonis Stevenson versus Badou Jack. This fight goes down on the 19th of May and it's going to be for Adonis Stevenson's WBC light heavyweight title and his lineal light heavyweight title. Let's briefly talk about both guys, their records, their attributes, etc. So Adonis Stevenson, he has a record of 29 wins with 1 defeat, 0 draws, 24 of those 29 wins coming by way of stoppage, whereas the challenger Badou Jack has a record of 22 wins, 1 defeat, 2 draws, 13 of those 22 wins coming by way of stoppage. Adonis Stevenson is listed as 5'11" with a 77-inch reach, whereas Badou Jack is listed as 6'1" with a 73-inch reach. So Badou Jack is listed as 2 inches taller, but Adonis Stevenson has a 4-inch reach advantage. Also worth noting that Adonis Stevenson is now 40 years old, whereas Badou Jack is 34 years old. So now we've got through all that, let's talk about the fight and how I feel it's going to go down. And I'm actually going to start with my thoughts on Adonis Stevenson briefly. Stevenson is a guy to me who, don't get me wrong, I've not enjoyed his career progression in terms of the level of competition he's faced. I've not enjoyed some of the career choices he's made, and I've not been a big fan of the politics surrounding him. He's not been one of those fighters who's given us the fights we want. So I've criticised Adonis Stevenson a lot over the years. Having said all that, I still feel this guy is an exceptional talent. And I know that I'm in the minority by thinking that. I know a lot of people don't rate Stevenson. The consensus is that he's a one-dimensional fighter, and there's some truth to that. We know what Stevenson's game is. You know, he likes to make the most of his reach advantage. He likes to keep it on the outside, pouring that right jab and looking for that left hand down the pipe. You know, he's looking to time his opponents coming in and doing damage with that left hand. We all know that's Stevenson's game. However, I think he does things that go under the radar. I feel his control of distance is excellent at times. I really do. He's got really good feet, and that is something that goes under the radar. So when you see Adonis Stevenson throw shots, even when he misses, he very rarely throws himself off balance. You know, he's got exceptional athletic ability and hand-eye coordination. You know, he finds those counter shots very well. He's very accurate, and obviously he brings extreme power with that. I feel his jab is very good at times. I know sometimes he has lapses in concentration in regards to defense, but overall his defense isn't bad at all. You know, he uses his feet to get out of the way and keep distance. Stevenson's whole game is based on his feet and his footwork. That is his whole game. You know, controlling the range, making sure his opponent isn't in punching range, because with Stevenson, the thing is, he's got exceptionally long arms, so it's extremely hard to judge whether you are in or out of punching range. You know, he's got freakishly long arms, and he does a very good job of catching opponents at the end of his punches. He's a master at controlling the distance, and that's one thing he doesn't get credit for. Like I said, I've criticised this guy in the past. He's made some stupid decisions. He's not fought the guys I want him to fight. However, I think he has the ability to beat anybody at light heavyweight. I always have. I'm not saying he beats everybody in the division, but potentially he could. There was a reason Andre Ward showed no interest in fighting this guy, despite Stevenson always calling him out. There was a reason Ward wanted none of that. That's all I'm going to say. But the stylistic matchup is interesting because going into the fight, Badou Jack is the more versatile fighter. You know, he's got more strings to his bow. He is a well-rounded guy. You know, he's got a good technical boxing brain. He's got a good jab, can keep it long. Jab 1-2. He's good on the inside, really good on the mid-range. Good body puncher, good high guards. You know, solid defense. He's a well-rounded boxer. He also has pretty good feet. You know, he's a textbook boxer. He's one of those guys that does everything well. And that could be a really good thing going into this fight for him, because as we say, Adonis, to me, yes, he's very good at what he does, but he is a tad one-dimensional. You know, we've seen it in fights where when he's not on the outside and keeping it long and timing guys with that left hand, when guys get close to him, he does get hit. You know, he is defensively vulnerable on the inside. Stevenson is not a perfect fighter by any means, but, you know, his one dimension is extremely strong and he does it very well. And it's just intriguing to see what style's going to come out on top here, because my whole thing is, the issue I have with Badou Jack is the fact that he's, first and foremost, he's a slow starter. He got knocked out in the first round by Derek Edwards a few years ago. He got dropped in the first round by James DeGale last year in their unification fight. Even in the Lucien Butte fight, I felt he was quite slow to get going. Again, in the Anthony Durrell fight, he kind of warmed up into it. You know, Badou Jack is a slow burner. You know, he starts slowly in a lot of fights and he sort of picks up the pace as he goes on. And vice versa, Adonis Stevenson is a very quick starter. In a lot of his fights, very early on, he finds the range and times that left hand. He'll mix it down to the body and the head. You know, he'll put a serious beating on opponents from early on. You know, look at his last fight against Andre Fonfara, for example. You know, he found the target right away and there's no feeling out process. He just went to town straight away. And even in fights before that, the Thomas Williams fight, he was finding the target right away. The Karpency fight, finding the target right away. You know, the Sukowski fight, the first Fonfara fight, the Bellew fight, you know, the Tavoris Cloud fight, the Chad Dawson fight. He was having success early on in these fights. Straight away in those fights, Stevenson took the initiative and really enforced his style on the opponent. It's very rare you see an Adonis Stevenson opponent make Adonis fight their fight. Usually Adonis sets his stall out very early on and he kind of dictates the way the fight is going to go. And that's because, first and foremost, he's got very good distance control. Like I said, he's got a good jab, he's got good feet. And not only that, he has that equaliser. When you fight Stevenson, you know, one mistake and it could be curtains, because Stevenson's power is not a joke. He has legitimate one-punch knockout power, like not many other fighters do. So, yeah, I mean, the guy is a very quick starter. And the question is, how does Badou Jack make it out of the first 3 or 4 rounds? Because, like I say, he is a relatively slow starter for the most part. And I could see a scenario where Badou Jack kind of goes into a shell early on just to get through the first 3 or 4 rounds, because he remembers what happened against Derek Edwards and he can't make that mistake against Stevenson. So I think he could start slowly purposely to take Stevenson later in the fight. But the issue with that is he's going to lose the rounds based on being defensively minded. Adonis is going to be probing with that jab. He is going to be moving Badou Jack around the ring. Badou will look for his counters, obviously. He'll look to strike when he can, but his output is going to dramatically drop in this fight. And, you know, Badou's going to feel the power early on, even if it's against his gloves, and he's going to go into a shell. Adonis, I think, is going to win the early rounds just based on he's going to be the guy who is forcing the pace. He's going to be the guy who's going to look for that big shot. He's going to be the guy who is dictating the action. So I feel if Badou Jack gets through the first 3 or 4 rounds, he's going to be in a position where he is 4 rounds down. And at that point, he makes the decision to either lose the fight clearly on points or actually take some risks and go for it. The issue of that is Badou, yes, he's technically sound, but to me, he's quite straight up. He's made for the Stevenson left hand to the body. He delivers that shot very well. And that's a shot that I feel will slow Badou Jack down. You know, Badou offers a lot of midriff to hit, so I think Adonis will find the target with that left hand to the body. So I feel in the first 3 or 4, you know, Badou's going to be down on the cards, and I think he will go for it. But ultimately, that's going to give Adonis ample opportunity to counter with that left hand. You know, Badou, he's, like I said, he's a really good technical boxer, but he doesn't move his head all that often. I feel that Stevenson could time the jab. He could time Badou coming in. He's quick enough to do it. He's a quicker guy than Badou Jack. And I feel Badou will walk onto something in the mid-rounds, to be honest with you, and I think he's going to get knocked out. I feel this fight is going to be relatively one-sided. I mean, all the people saying Badou Jack's going to win this fight, please put some money on at the bookies. You know, make those odds a little bit more appealing for the people who are backing Stevenson. But I'm not saying Badou has no chance, but I just feel stylistically, yes, he is the more well-rounded guy, but I really think he's going to get stuck between styles here. He's going to get intimidated by the power. He's going to struggle to judge the distance. And, you know, the range is going to be a big issue for Badou Jack here. If Badou can get on the inside, it will be interesting because Badou Jack is a better inside fighter than Adonis Stevenson overall. Badou Jack is much better defensively on the inside than Stevenson. And also he picks his shots very well on the inside, works the body, comes up with uppercuts, changes levels. Badou Jack is a really good inside fighter. And Stevenson on the inside is very poor defensively. However, despite being poor defensively on the inside, Stevenson can still find shots on the inside. He throws his shots well on the inside. And we saw against Finfara in the first fight and against Thomas Williams Jr., yeah, you can trade with Adonis on the inside and have success. But you might walk onto a big shot, a big hook, a big uppercut, big body shots. You know, if you get on the inside against Adonis, yes, you're gonna have success because he is porous defensively on the inside, but you're gonna get hit. Adonis does find the shots well on the inside, so yes, if you find yourself in the pocket against Adonis, especially if you're Badou Jack, you're going to have success, but I question how he takes for a response. And it is potentially possible for Badou Jack to hurt Adonis on the inside. Adonis has been hurt before. He was hurt by Finfara in their first fight. He was also hurt, he was knocked out by Darnell Boone back in the day. So Adonis can be hurt. He is vulnerable, like I said. Defensively, he's poor on the inside. That is Badou Jack's best chance of winning, but even then, it doesn't guarantee, just because he gets there, doesn't mean he's going to win the fight. He's just as likely to be knocked out on the inside as Adonis is, so that's a real a throw of a dice if he gets on the inside. And I just can't see Badou Jack outboxing Adonis on the outside. I think he's going to stick on the outside with a high guard, throw the odd jab here and there, but he's going to be quite negative to start this fight. And he's going to leave himself with a lot to do, and eventually he's going to get walked onto something big, and he's going to get knocked out. And Adonis Stevenson is going to win the fight. I'm going to go with an Adonis Stevenson mid-round stoppage, maybe even early. I'm quite confident in this pick. I just feel this is a bad style matchup for Badou Jack. What do you guys think? Peace.